How we doing, guys? It's Coach Alex from Maximize Potential coming at y'all with another great Mobility Monday. As I mentioned last week, I want to dedicate this entire month to different tips and tricks that we can do to improve all aspects of our deadlift. So today I want to hear a couple of common cues that you may hear from your coaches and what exactly do they mean. But before we get into that, if you haven't noticed, new cold weather gear is finally here. It's never been easier to stay warm and stay stylish while still getting your gains. We've got sweaters, we've got sweatpants, we've got beanies, and we've got a good assortment of hoodies. We've still got a good amount of deals going on a lot of these items, so go ahead and grab some while the deals are still on. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link down in the comments below. Today we're talking about common deadlift cues. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Tell me if you've heard this one. Keep your chest up. Hey, stay with the breath. Don't forget to stay with the breath. These are some of the most common cues that a lot of people will hear straight from their coaches. But a lot of the time these phrases go in one ear and right out the other. So I'm here to explain some of the most common cues that you may hear whenever you're deadlifting. So let's take it out to the gym floor and I'll show us exactly what I'm talking about. Alrighty, y'all. So whenever we're squatting, whenever we're deadlifting, one of the most common things that I see is going to be a valgus knee. A valgus knee happens whenever we have a little bit of a weakness in that glute or we have a tightness in that adductor. Sometimes that knee tends to cave in like this. Well, sometimes it has to do with how much our feet are activated. So the first common cue that I'm going to be talking about is knees out. What does knees out actually mean? Well, when we say knees out, we're actually talking about having a little bit of external rotation, boom, in those knees. So if we're in a deadlift position and those knees are coming in, or if we're in that squat position and that knee is coming in, one really great way to fix that up is going to be to tear the earth apart. I'm going to go ahead and pop my shoes off so this way y'all are going to have a little bit of a better view of my feet because it's honestly all in the feet here. So we're going to get into our position here. Now, what we're going to want to do is screw the feet into the ground. We're going to want to tear the earth apart. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to spread the toes out. We're going to grab the ground. Now that we've grabbed the ground, we've got a good grip on the ground. We're going to tear the earth apart, screw our feet into the ground. Now, inevitably, our knees are going to be pointing outwards. We're going to get that good external rotation. This is going to give us proper gluten supporting muscle activation. This should help alleviate that valgus knee. Now, if we're having trouble getting into this type of motion, we need to focus on our feet. So if we're not able to really grip the ground, see if we actually have contact with the entirety of the foot. I always talk about having the tripod in that foot, so having connections with the ground with our big toe, our little toe, and our heel. Sometimes if we don't have equal pressure in the entirety of the foot, then we can get a little bit of external rotation on that ankle and cause that knee to fall in. So making sure that we have even distribution in the entirety of the ground is what's going to be the most beneficial for us. Now, another common cue that I hear a lot is going to be chest up. Now, we see this a lot, again, in the deadlift or the squat. So if we're in that squat position and our chest is coming too far forward, or if we're in that deadlift position and we hinge way too much, we become parallel with the ground, we want to keep that chest up. So chest up is actually one of my least favorite cues. If somebody is in that deadlift position and their chest is coming down too low and I start saying chest up, they're going to want to bring that chest up. And now we have a really heavy extension, a hyperextension in that low back. And now we've got a lot of pressure back there. Even just holding this here for a couple of seconds isn't feeling very good. In addition to having a really dramatic anterior tilt like that, it's really indicative of having a weak core or just a completely unactive core. That's why I always talk about the importance of bending the bar whenever we're getting into that deadlift. When we bend the bar, whenever we take the slack out of the bar, we're getting a little bit of extra activation in those lats. Now, the lats are one of the bigger muscles in the body, so why wouldn't we want to recruit some of these bigger muscles to help us stay stable? Not only are they going to keep us stable, but they're going to keep us straight, nice and stable from head to tail. Activating those lats and pulling those shoulders back is going to help keep that chest up. Now, bending the bar is just a small part of that chest up. Next time you hear the cue chest up, think chest and butt up. So when that chest comes up, that butt is coming up at the same time. A lot of the time when people go chest up, they think butt down. But in all reality, that's what's putting that extra pressure into that low back. So if we're in that deadlift position, ideally we want the shoulders and that butt coming up, boom, at the same time. This helps put my back into a little bit of an extension, but not a hyperextension, and locks the hips down. Now finally, this last one, brace your core. Funny enough, we actually have an athlete that we've been training for about 6 months now. And over these last 6 months, we've been working on a lot of Olympic style lifting and specifically telling him to make sure that he's bracing his core during certain parts of that lift. And it wasn't until just last week that he asked, what does that actually mean? Well, I'll tell you what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean to suck in. Now, when we say brace your core, we want the combination of that external pressure whenever we take in that big breath, combined with that internal pressure of bracing your abdominal muscles, squeezing those core muscles. A A lot of the time when we inhale, when we want to breathe, we just kind of think of that top of the chest breathing, when in all reality, we really need to be breathing into our stomach here. This is called diaphragmatic breathing. An easy way to get into this, take your hand, place it on your belly button, and you're gonna wanna take a big inhale and watch as that belly rises, or as your hand rises. That's just one of two parts. The second part is to be squeezing these abdominal muscles, so as if you're getting ready to take a punch straight to the gut. This is gonna allow us to keep a more neutral tilt in the hips, essentially taking away that anterior tilt in the hips. It's also gonna help protect that low back. So together, it's gonna look like a big inhale in. Now I've got that external pressure, and now I'm gonna squeeze my abdominals. That is rock hard. So now, as long as we hold this throughout the entirety of our hinge motion, throughout the entirety of our squat motion, we should be nice and protected throughout the hips, throughout the low back. But anyway, guys, that's about all I got for us today. I hope we learned something new. Like I mentioned earlier, the new cold weather gear is finally in. Those deals are still on, so go ahead and grab some stuff while they're still here. Remember, y'all, this is always a conversation, so don't forget to leave a comment down below with anything that you learned, any questions that you may have, or suggestions for future content that you want to see. But other than that, I'm Coach Alex. Y'all be good, drink some water. I'll see y'all in the next one.